we work on a branding project, we have a list of attributes that describe the company. This list serves as a guideline, and the goal of the final branding is to reflect that description. So, what can we say about Sedin? Sedin is a parent company, and its subsidiary companies are a significant focus. It's always evolving and adapting to the market. It's very flexible, it's reshaping itself to overcome any obstacle. It never stops, it's always on the move. It's living in a digital world. Okay, so we know all those things about Sedin, but how do we actually translate that into a simple logo? Okay, think of it this way. We have a group of these tech companies. Every member of this group has different traits and skill sets, but they have the same values. They share knowledge and collaborate with each other. Together, they form sort of a family. Sedin itself is the parent, the head of this family, right there in the middle of it all. Sedin is the core of operations, connecting all divisions together, helping them grow, work as a team, and utilize their unique skill sets in the best way possible. It plays the central role in this family of companies, but ultimately, without its children, it wouldn't exist. So now we have the most basic shape that represents what Sedin really is. The next step would be giving it color. It might seem like an easy task, just choose whatever looks best. But going by Sedin values, everything has to make sense. It can't just be a random choice. We wanted a color that represents something very unique and beautiful on the surface, but requires a lot of very complex work to achieve. Like color blue. Blue is the rarest color in nature. Animals get their colors through pigments, but not blue. Aside from few exceptions, the animals that appear blue, for example, the blue morpho butterflies, create their blue through microscopic structures built specifically to reflect light in such a way so that they appear blue. So on the surface, there's this beautiful color, but if you take a closer look, there is a very complex and ongoing process that makes it possible. That's a perfect representation of how Sedin works. A beautiful and unique outcome that's only achievable through hard work and deep knowledge of the mechanisms of the world it exists in. While we have the base color of the logo, it's also dynamic. Just like some insects, birds, and other animals, it's iridescent, changing its color when viewed from a different angle. By angle in our case, I mean a division, like Tarka Labs, CodeWrapper, or Rails Factory. All these divisions approach product or a task from a different angle, and their brand color is reflected in the Sedin logo. So we have the shape of the logo, which represents the company structure and what it's currently trying to achieve. And the color, which is not a permanent paint job, but an outcome of a complex mechanism that can restructure itself to be anything. But we're not done yet. Sedin is always evolving, constantly changing, adapting, and reshaping to overcome an obstacle or complete a goal. It's almost like a living, breathing thing. But how do we show that in a logo? How do you make it alive? Logos are static, right? Logos or symbols have been around for centuries, and because of the physical world's limitations, they had to be static. The world has evolved, but the way we build brands hasn't really caught up just yet. But things are changing. In the last decade, we've started to see the physical and digital worlds blending at a very fast pace. Billboards with printed ads are being replaced by screens with animations, and extended reality is becoming a fundamental part of our lives. And it will only get more significant in the future. Technology is removing the boundaries of what's possible. Sedin is mainly a digital company. It lives and breathes in a digital space, and we're taking full advantage of that. The logo can reshape itself to interact and communicate with the viewer. On the website, the home of Sedin, the logo is not just a static element placed to represent the brand. It's integrated into the experience. Think of it as your host interacting with you as you explore its home. For example, when we're talking about the divisions The part that represents them in the logo expands and takes the spotlight. The color also changes to resemble the brand color of the division it's focused on. This happens all across the website and other digital spaces. And even though the logo slightly changes its shape and color, it doesn't lose its identity. While the digital world is Sedin's home, it still has to have presence in the physical world. The challenge was, how do we connect those two worlds within the limitations of the physical world? We look at the digital space through a screen. It's a window to another world, and the user interface created inside of that world helps us understand it. So what would it look like if we were on the other side of that window, looking through it at the physical world? Iconography is a universal language. It works in digital and physical space, and it's designed to be understandable by anyone, anywhere. We use icons to label objects, actions, or situations. For Sedin branding, we did exactly that. We've taken icons that are universally recognizable in the digital space and used them as labels on real-world items. So a file folder has a folder icon in the middle of it, just as it would have in the file manager on your computer. A notebook has a note icon. A t-shirt that a person is wearing will have a person's icon. The envelope has a message icon, and as you open it, it gets replaced with the red message icon. The magic cup has a toggle icon that actually toggles to the on state as you pour your hot coffee into it. These are just some of the examples of how we recreated the digital world in a physical form for the Sedin branding. Sedin always tries to be ahead. It's looking for new and creative ways of doing things, so we couldn't settle for something standard. We had to make sure that, just like Sedin, the branding is ready for the future. With its flexible structure and animated nature, it will always adapt, stay fresh, and utilize the newest available technology. Anyway, that's it from me, and I hope you've enjoyed this quick overview of Sedin's branding journey.